right, jabronis, we're back. Welcome back to the illustrious Libretti Podcast Diary Show, LPDS. I'm your stupid, stinking host, Libretti. For all you newcomers out there, hope everyone had a good week. Mine was long. I don't know why, but the days were long, and I'm glad that they're over with. Onward and upward, as they say. But I hope you guys enjoyed a good week. A couple of quick updates, quick how you doing before we get into this one. I saw this on Barstool Sports because I'm obsessed with them. I want to work for them and be an employee, and I'm sure that people hate me for that. But they posted a blog with a video. Somebody found old VH1 footage from their show that they used to do. It was called like Lives of the Filthy Stinking Rich or some shit like that. And they posted the footage of Jeff Epstein's when they did an episode on him, or at least part of an episode. And let me tell you something. It's brutal to think about these people talking about this guy the way they were back in the day. It was the early 2000s. They were showing all the stuff he was buying, the old schoolhouse he bought for millions of dollars, his place in Palm Beach, his fleet of aircraft, plus the big airline of the 727 or whatever that he has or had. And then they were pretty much just sucking him off, talking about, oh, this guy can do all this. He's got a whole team of scientists and this and that and special coaches, and he goes to all these big wig parties and hangs out with all these big timers, and they were bragging about how he was hanging, like Bill Clinton would fly out with him, and they flew out to Africa, and Bill Clinton was flying out to go deal with the hunger problem out there, and Jeff Epstein was probably just going to get some clout and blah blah. But the way they were bragging, and like this entire time, none of them had any idea that Clinton was flying out there to go do sex to children. And Epstein was funding it and getting paid essentially by these guys, all these pedophiles. Watching Randy on the camera over there. And nobody knew that they were talking about this guy like he was a billionaire god, and all these celebrities and big timers in government and in media were loving him. And this entire time they had no idea that they were bragging about a sex trafficker. Wild. Go check it out. It's on the barstoolsports.com website. Just look up the Jeff Epstein VH1 blog and you'll find the video. Crazy stuff that they were bragging about him like that. Weird. Anyway, got a quick story about Randy, by the way. The dog, the LPDS dog. A couple days ago, this is before we just got snow, by the way. Friday night, we got snow. It was supposed to be some big blizzard. I don't know if anybody got hit real hard, like up north or somewhere different. Maybe New Jersey, Boston. They were saying up in the New England area was supposed to get hit hard with this thing they kept calling the bomb cyclone. Bomb cyclone is coming. Don't watch out for the big bomb cyclone. It's coming this weekend. Haven't had one since 2018. Big bomb cyclone. And these weather assholes kept talking about the bomb cyclone's coming. Bomb cyclone's coming. Watch out. Trying to justify their existence on TV, why they're so valuable and important. Trying to essentially like mansplain, for lack of a better term, what a bomb cyclone is. And well, essentially here, Rick, what you got here is you got a low pressure system of weather with a high pressure system of weather, and they connect together. And then you got to watch out for that third factor that nobody really pays attention to, and that's that jet stream of wind that comes right over the top, and that creates what we call a bomb cyclone, Rick. That's right. Every channel was the same thing, just talking about the bomb cyclone. Oh, we got low pressure here, we got high pressure here, and it collides, and don't forget that third trifecta, and it's a bomb cyclone. That's the exact thing. That's why I memorize it, because it's the exact same thing from everybody about the stupid bomb cyclone. All they're doing is, oh, we got weather coming from the left and we got weather coming from the right. And when the weather connects together, you get more weather. Oh, pay us more money. As if we completely forgot how last week, at least in the D.C. area, these same jabronis were telling us there was 100% chance of snow. just a week ago, 100% chance of snow. They canceled schools for 100% chance. I have never seen 100% chance of snow or precipitation in recent recollection. 100%. They guaranteed snow coming. There wasn't a flake of snow. Schools got canceled. People had to stay home from work to watch their piss pants kids because 100% chance of snow. And these ball bags completely missed it. And then they try to pull the wool over your heads by trying to pretend to be smart because they're reading from a script about the bomb cyclone. We got the low pressure and the high pressure and the dry factor. Oh, it's a big one coming in here, Rick. Anywhere between 2 and 75 inches of snow. Like, shut up. We know the deal with the weather. We know the weather game. You guess? You look at some of the meteorology behind it all. Some of the smart guys behind the scenes do most of that work. They give you an assessment, and then you ball bags go and dork it up on TV for us. And you get paid a good piece of change to be right 50% of the time and wrong 50% of the time, and nobody seems to care. Terrible numbers, by the way. Anyway, before the bomb cyclone came in, old Randy was sniffing around. He's Randy on screen right now, fake tough guy. And for whatever reason, he's able to sniff out the mole colony I seem to have in my backyard, which is crazy to me because it's so cold out. I don't even know how the moles are staying alive under there. I guess they're keeping warm under the dirt in the mole colony with the other molemen. I don't really know how the mole universe and the network works, what they got going on down there. Their little terrorism network that they have the sleeper cell underneath the ground. But Randy's been sniffing them out, and he snagged one a couple days ago. Maybe it was like a week ago. I don't remember. But he's sniffing down, like nose into the ground, burning around. It was at night, so I couldn't see the tunnels. You could see the raised ground during the day, but at night you can't really see it. But old Randy sniffed it out, and he shoved his snout through the ground. He made his own hole and pulled out this damn thing, this mole. And I couldn't tell what it was. I just saw him start chewing on something. And I was like, oh, it could be deer shit. Randy loves to eat deer shit for some reason. It's another thing about this fake tough guy. He has brains of mush. So I was like, oh, I better clean out the deer shit so he's not eating it and getting sick. And what do I pull out? This dead, suffering mole. I probably didn't even suffer. He didn't even make a sound. He just died right there. Back cracked, neck broken, head in pieces. His skulls were everywhere like JFK. So what we have here, this is a little bragging moment on old Randy Reigns of the LPDS. He's a hunter. Now, if I could just hone his skills and smarten him up a little bit, we can have some serious yard hunting going on. Get some good meals in here. We got rabbits out there. We got squirrels. I saw a couple foxes. The deer are rampant. If we can get Randy on the case, we'll have some LPDS feasts for you guys. So stay tuned for that. Anyway, we'll just get right into it. Got a fun one today. We try to change things up. We go serious. We go ridiculous. We'll keep things light and fun today with a little LPDS poll on movies on Pesci. But first, we'll step into the cage.
Okay, let's run.
All right. Today's Into the Cage segment is proudly sponsored by Crocs men's rubber underwear. We all know what Crocs are and how durable and easy they are in the footwear game. Well, now the makers of Crocs have moved into the underwear game with Crocs. Crocs provides men not only with the squirtle security and comfort necessary to survive the day, they're also wedgie-proof and sink washable. Just take those bad boys off at the end of the day, do a quick rinse in the sink, the same sink you wash your dishes in, mind you, then toss them in the dryer rack and they'll be dry and ready to go by morning. So to get a pair of Crocs today, visit www.kocs.com and use the promo code CrotchRot for 2.9% off your first pair. Crocs. Can you imagine walking around with rubber underwear on like that? and like the chafing on the inner thighs and the how you doings. Don't buy the man thongs. All right, the cage fact. Pretty quick one. Kind of a follow-on to an older fact we discussed a while ago. I don't even remember how long ago, a year ago plus probably, that Nick Cage has his own crow, a pet crow named Hoogan. I think it's like Hoogan. I think I butchered the spelling last time too, so I don't know if we got it right this time. A crow named Hoogan. He was talking about it a little bit. He recently did an interview in preparation for his upcoming movie, Renfield, where he plays Dracula, which, I mean, if you're not going to go watch that or be ready for it, you better check your heartbeat because you're dead. So he's doing this interview and talking about the movie, and he's talking about how some of the stuff he likes in his life, he's like dark. He likes Hoogan. His crow, shit talks him, so he was laughing about how Hoogan shit talks. And then he was saying how his crow will call him out for being a goth because he's a self-proclaimed goth now. And I don't know if it's part of the character that he's preparing for Dracula or what it is, but he's like, yeah, I like the dark stuff. This, Hoogan reminds me of that because I'm a little bit goth. Edgar Allan Poe. How you doing? What did I say? Edgar Allan Poe. Edgar suit. Crow reminds him of the dark stuff, emo shit. And I'm a self-proclaimed goth, blah, blah, blah. And then he was talking about how Hoogan, his crow, kind of calls him out for that with he makes sounds that sound like the word ass and crap and things like that. Like little shit talks like your boys tell you. So the update, really, the cage fact is that now he is a self-proclaimed goth. And I believe it. I mean, if you look at him and the pictures he takes or they take of him in public wearing all the weird stuff, I could definitely see him being a goth at heart, even a little bit, especially since he's walking around his property with a crow on his shoulder, shit talking him. So, again, short cage fact. Really, it's sort of like an ad for his upcoming film, Renfield. That's going to be incredible. If you remember the last movie that Nick Cage did in the vampire realm, in the vampire genre, I think we're going to be in for a treat with this one. So there you go, cage fact. All right, spinning on up the Junction logo here. We'll move on over. Now we did an LPDS poll, another poll. I put it up earlier in the week for movie stuff, still the movie stuff. Did a Joe Pesci poll specifically. The question was, what Joe Pesci movie is better? What's the better Pesci movie? My Cousin Vinny or Home Alone? I put it up there. Now, again, we're not just here to dick around and be silly and stupid only. We're teaching lessons here at the LPDS. So I left this purposely open-ended for your interpretation so that you can kind of go through the motions, the exercises of critically thinking about the question, how you want to interpret it, and then what your answer is going to be based off of that interpretation. So it could have been, what movie did Joe Pesci do a better job in, play a better role? What movie was better overall? Which one did you like better, specifically, whether you thought it was better as a film or not, cinematically? Whatever. It was open to your interpretation. Whenever you read the question, I wanted you to just figure out on your own what you wanted to talk about and decide on and kind of go from there. And I got a lot of good answers. We got some good feedback. Got some good insight from you guys on your thought processes and your critical analysis of certain things. Even if it's a silly topic like this is the point. We can have fun and still teach lessons. Learning and education does not have to be boring and stupid all the time. We can have fun doing it. I hope you guys enjoyed it because I certainly did. And now we're going to get into it. 2 movies, 2 quality. Let's caveat that right off the bat. Quality movies. Top 10 movies, both of them for me, easily. They're almost both breaking the top 5. Almost both. Very tough call. On any given day, I might make a different decision on who's in the top 5 and who's not. Regardless, we'll get into it. Okay, so Home Alone. I was a little surprised by this, by the way. Not the result of the vote, which I'll pop up at the end, and we'll discuss that a little bit, but more of like the reasons behind it. I was a little surprised by some of the people who chose Home Alone, and their reasons were kind of vague and kind of one-off and didn't really get into some of the details I thought they would have. Maybe they didn't have room in the comments section of the question or whatever. But it was unique to kind of see how you guys thought through this one. But Home Alone, Joe Pesci plays, obviously, Harry, I forgot his last name, the cat burglar, the house hunter, if you will. He's got the gold tooth. That's a big thing, by the way. And actually, it reminds me of this stupid meme going around the past couple weeks of a picture of a split screen image of Joe Pesci dressed as the cop in Home Alone when he's discussed as the cop in the beginning, and then him as Harry, the cat burglar. And everyone's like, did anyone just figure out? Am I the only one who just figured out that Joe Pesci played the cop in the beginning of the movie of Home Alone? Which is stupid. Okay? If anybody took that long to figure it out, this movie came out in like 1990 or 91 or something. And the key thing here, and this was brought up by an LPDS great, Terrence, is that he's got the gold tooth that shimmers in the beginning when he's a cop, and then again when he's Harry. And that's the clear giveaway. That is the movie telling you this is the same guy. If you couldn't figure it out by just looking at the fact that you got this short, stumpy Italian with this high-pitched Italian voice as both characters, if you couldn't figure that out, this has to help. The gold tooth, it's got to help. And apparently it did it for some of these idiots out there. So you got to watch out for that. The separate lesson, watch out for idiots. They're all over the place. Look out for them. But that's the first thing about Pesci you notice is the gold tooth. It's like his signature thing, and it comes back to bite him in the end when he loses the tooth. And then the father, rest in power, finds it at the end on the floor, which is also a little weird because he cleans up the entire house. All the little toys on the ground, the busted ornaments, the tar on the steps, the ice, everything is all cleaned up perfectly. And he forgets the gold tooth on the floor. Come on, Kevin, be better than that. But anyway, keep moving on down the list of the notes you guys provided. Another good point made by a fan was Pesci's ability to not curse in that movie. Now, if you notice, in Home Alone, he says a lot of made-up words, ratcha, fratcha, ratchet. That was him kind of off the cuff making that up so that he wasn't cursing on screen because it's a children's movie. They couldn't make imagine they made a rated R Home Alone with Joe Pesci going ham. They couldn't do it, though, because if they wanted it to be a kid's movie, it needed to be a kid's movie, or a family movie, whatever you want to call it. So they had to tell Pesci, hey, you gotta lock it up, figure it out. So every time he wanted to curse, that's what he would do. He would make up that word. So imagine now all those times you heard him making up words. Now you know those every single time he was trying to hold back cursing, which is pretty impressive if you ask me, because he did that a lot in the movie, and I would have been cursing up a storm. I don't know how many takes they would have done. They would have fired me because I curse like what's a good term? A sailor? I don't want to be a seaman. So whatever. I curse a lot. So props to him for doing that. Another good aspect about Pesci and Home Alone is he's like, it's a comedy movie, but he's playing like this serious role. He's a cat burglar. He's trying to get this house, steal the stuff from the house and rob it. And he's got to deal with this stupid humphead kid. And he's being serious. He's trying to get this kid out of the way, take him out, take him down, whatever he's got to do. And he's playing a serious role, but it's still funny. The hijinks he gets into, the things he says to Marv, it's still very funny. He does that in Vinny too. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but these are very serious roles he's playing. He is playing a fake cop and then a cat burglar. So he really nails the role, and he's playing like a standard Joe Pesci role, a bad guy, a hot-headed bad guy. And it just happens to be in this funny, campy music family movie. So he did a good job. Another good thing about it, this is more of impressive for the character of Harry, not so much just Joe Pesci, but how was he able to get an entire regulation Chicago police uniform? Who did he get that from? And it kind of begs the question, if he's able to do that, if you're able to secure a legitimate police uniform, not like one of those stripper ones or an obvious fake, he had a badge, he had the hat, the gun, the gold tooth, everything. If you're able to do that, why are you not able to take down this stupid kid who's just hitting you with paint cans? And he beat you. He bested you big time. Now, you can argue, if you want to go down this road, that Marv is the weak link there, because he's not only trying to take care of this kid and rob this house, he's got this weak link, this wild card that he's got to take care of as well. And that creates just too much for him to handle. If he was solo, maybe. I mean, throughout the entire movie, he's the one who's correcting Marv and trying to get clear. He's got to verify everything Marv says and does because he's unreliable. And he's a pain in the ass. And he created essentially the way they got busted, how they got caught robbing the other houses, because old Marv couldn't control himself and had to go stuff towels in all the sinks and run the sinks and flood the houses. Wet bandits, that's their calling card. And because Marv couldn't control himself, Harry had to discipline him. And then because Harry had to discipline him, they're yelling back and forth. He almost hits the kid, McAllister. And that, I think, sets the stage right there in the movie of now Kevin McAllister knows these two. He identifies these two. They talk. He sees the gold tooth again when Marv smiles from the van they stole. And now his senses are flaring, his Spider-Man senses. So now he's going to go prepare for battle. Now, meanwhile, if it wasn't for Marv, maybe none of that ever happened. Maybe Macaulay Culkin doesn't ever see these two, see the gold tooth, and now he's his guard's down. It's a little easier. So just something to think about there. Who is the weak link? Was it the fact that they were both dopey and jabronis, or was it really just Marv who was causing all the problems? He couldn't even figure out that the kid was playing a movie on loud volume. He thought it was a real gangster fight between Snakes and Johnny. And he had to kind of confused Harry, Joe Pesci, because he don't know no Snakes. Now he's got to figure out who Snakes is too, on top of dealing with this stupid kid and planning for the heist of his lifetime. That's a silver tuna. Ever since he moved into that neighborhood, he wanted that house. And now Marv can't do shit to help him. He's got to do it all himself. And I get it. When the responsibility is dumped solely on you, whether it's for good or evil, you get stressed. The responsibilities pile on. It's not just planning the heist. It's dealing with the assholery. And before you know it, you get buried in it. And you can't blame them. I mean, by the end of the movie, he was gone, mentally gone, to the point where he was about to bite his little fingers. Every single one of his little fingers was going to bite off because he was just so over the shit that he had to deal with the entire time between that kid and stupid Marv and the tarantula and old man Marley, the Southbound Shovel Slayer, who comes back and bonks him on the head again with the shovel. By that time, he just lost his mind and he was resorting to eating children. Imagine the mental strain that has to happen to you, that you have to go through, and all the shit you have to deal with to become that enraged and emotionally unstable that you resort to cannibalism, child cannibalism. I can't begin to imagine the burden on poor Harry's shoulders that made him snap like that. He was going to eat kid fingers. Wild. Anyway, that's an all-time movie. Home Alone's an all-time movie. Not to mention the other supporting roles in the movie. Buzz McAllister. Obviously, Old Man Marley. By the way, Buzz McAllister just got arrested for domestic violence against his girlfriend. Not a good look, Buzz. You got to get it together. But you got John Candy in Home Alone 2. John Candy, to me, is a top 5 comedic actor of all time. One of the funniest guys out there. Who's Harry Crumb? Have you seen that movie? One of the funniest around, John Candy. One of the funniest. And he nails it in that movie, too. Gus Polinski, Polka King in the Midwest, saves the day by getting the wife home as soon as he could. Kid spent all day in the funeral home with a corpse. Incredible performance by John Candy. But Joe Pesci really did nail it. And that movie is an all-time movie. It's not just for Christmas. I'll watch it anytime it's on. Christmas, New Year's, Hanukkah, whatever. You name it, I'll watch it. It's fantastic. Now, moving on into My Cousin Vinny. Got a lot more feedback on Vinny. I think because as we're older, the fans are a little older demographic, my age, in their 30s, late 20s, early 30s. My Cousin Vinny, is a little bit more age appropriate as far as the jokes and the humor and the overall environment, culture of the movie is more adult, obviously. Not taking away anything from Home Alone in that regard, but so you got Joe Pesci is this Ginzo from New York. Real quick, a fan and my old childhood friend, shout out to Shark, the Shark. He reminded me of Joe Pesci being that Ginzo. He's the one who put that in there in the feedback that he's a Ginzo from New York. You can't not love Vinny in that. So shout out to the Shark Nose. He's a childhood friend. I used to go over his house a lot as a kid because I was poor and stupid, and he was smart. And we can go and hang out in his yard. He had a basketball court in his yard. It wasn't a full court, but it was at least like a half court that we can play like 5-on-5, or like 3-on-3 or whatever. Had the 3-point line in his backyard, and it had the nets around it, so that when I shot the ball wouldn't go flying all over the place. It would just get corralled back into the court because it hit the net and come back. Cement too. It wasn't that shit asphalt you see in the parks. It was cement. It had an adjustable hoop that it was easily adjustable. You can go and play slam dunk contest, or you can put it up higher to do 3-point contest. Incredible yard. We had a pool. We used to do little whirlpools in the pool back there. Play water balloon fights. We have a little gabagool on the patio all the time. It's incredible. Shark Nose is a top-tier guy, top-tier childhood friend, so shout out to the Shark. Anyway, what the hell was I talking about? Oh, yeah, Pesci and My Cousin Vinny. So, a lot of things here about Vinny and the movie and Pesci's performance. So, he's a Ginzo from New York. His cousin gets into a serious situation where they thought they just got busted for stealing tuna, but they're getting busted for murdering Jimmy Willis at the Sack of Suds down in Alabama, and they don't have money for a lawyer, so they got to call Ralph Macchio's mom, who suggests Vinny enter Joe Pesci. And that's where he comes in. He does the lawyering thing to try to get him off, and it's a whole how you doing with that. Now, some of the feedback I got was that that's the funnier Pesci. Joe Pesci's role in My Cousin Vinny is funnier than his role in Home Alone. But let's think about this for a second. Let's go back to what we said about Pesci's role in Home Alone, is that it was a serious role. In this movie, too, in My Cousin Vinny, Joe Pesci is still playing an attorney who's trying to get his defendants off of a murder charge. Okay, so this could have been spun any which way. If you see in the movie I Time to Kill with Sam Jackson and Matt McConaughey, that's the same premise. There's an attorney who's trying to get his defendant off of murder. But it's also a different movie if you've seen them, right? So think about that. Think about the acting chops you got to have to be able to pull off this serious, otherwise serious performance in a comedic, funny, humorous manner. Joe Pesci nails it. But it's more that adult sophisticated than anything else. It's pure Pesci, as Nikki Sticks would say. It's pure Pesci. Because that's his role in his other movies. Casino, Goodfellas. He's a serious guy, but he's a funny guy. That is Pesci. And he does it a little bit in Home Alone, but this is where he really shined. That's his role. And I don't know if he's like that in real life, but if he's not, you could have fooled me, because he was in his element in My Cousin Vinny. That was right up his alley, it seemed like, with the leather jacket and the woven belt that he flips down over his crotchal region. Maybe he was wearing a Cox rubber underwear. Probably not back in the day. They weren't around yet, but that was his cowboy boots, the whole nine, the coif, the gold jewelry. That's pure Pesci. That is unadulterated Pesci right there. And it was fantastic. Another thing about him in this movie is that he's got a quick wit, but he's also a jabroni. Home Alone, he was like the brains of the operation, like a Pinky in the Brain situation. But he didn't have quick wit, sarcastic comments. He was just angry all the time. He had a couple of quick, quips there, here and there in Home Alone. But this movie, everything was a sarcastic response. The conversations he was having with the judge, Chamberlain Holler, were incredible, where he tells him, hey, if you do one more thing, I will hold you in contempt of court. And he goes, I think I get the point, as a joke. And then he goes, oh, you're now in contempt of court. He's like, there's a fucking surprise. Sorry, Terrence, this is family show. I realize that, but I apologize. Every line is a sarcastic little remark. When you look at the pictures in the diner, oh, you solved the case, honey, me in the shower. Everything is great. And they say, sarcastic people, or it's usually tied to, higher intelligence. So he's not an idiot, but he's also a jabroni. He's showing up. He's a lawyer. Okay, he's a certified lawyer, bar association certified lawyer, and he's showing up to court for a murder trial wearing a leather jacket that's got shoulder pads in it, cowboy boots, all black, like he's going to a Ginzo funeral, and a woven belt, and the gold chains hanging out like a Gavone. So it's like, is he that smart? We don't know. That is the genius and the expertise behind a pure Pesci role. Is that you never know. You think you got this short, stumpy dope rolling into Alabama, not knowing a goddamn thing about court proceedings and etiquette or anything, and you got to expect him to get you off of murder? No chance. In fact, Ralph Macchio's buddy, the guy who's accessory to murder, he decided to go with the public defender in the beginning because he saw Joe Pesci and he's like, this guy's trying to jerk me off. I'm not trying to get jerked off. I'm not trying to do any of that. So I'm going to go with the public defender. And then all of a sudden, Pesci turns it on. Vinny turns it on. When the chips are down, the shit hits the fan. Whatever else, other cliche saying you want to use. And he turns it on. He was a gamer. I don't like using that term gamer, but the game was on the line, and he turned, and that's when he came through. And the public defender just took a dump right there in the courtroom. If you remember his stuttering ass. And then Pesci took over from there. And even his questioning and conversations he had with the witnesses that he was calling and his arguments, they were all pure Pesci. Sarcastic, Ginzo, when he would be done. Again, no courtroom etiquette. Oh, I'm done with this guy. What are these? Bushes. Yes, bushes. You're so smart. Like, everything was just incredible, incredible acting. The convos with the judge are some of my favorite. I don't know why, because you got this judge, Herman Munster, this larger-than-life, regal sort of character, giant robe. I mean, his robe was unbelievable. And then you got Joe Pesci, this blue-collar, like New York trash, who his nicest suit gets dumped in the mud, and then he's got to wear the consignment shop tails, like suede suit. Incredible. And you got these two different dynamics interacting. Excuse me. Two worlds are colliding, essentially, and it was just a great back and forth. And I that was a really funny part. Everything about that movie was good, like the acting, the side acting. But really, the three main reasons why My Cousin Vinny is a top-tier movie, a top 5 movie. All the other reasons you could throw aside. You could toss them in the trash behind the sack of suds. The 3 reasons. Mona Lisa VITO, Mona Lisa VITO, Mona Lisa VITO. And our old friend, the Creature, LPDS character, the Creature, would certainly agree to that as part of his feedback he provided. Marisa Tomei and Mona Lisa VITO, her character, was some of the best I've ever experienced in my entire life. That character alone single-handedly made Marisa Tomei my number 1 on my list of celebrity babes that I would drop everything for and marry. If I had a family right now, which I don't, I'm not even close to it. If I had my own family with a wife and kids and dogs and fishes, and kids are in class and they're playing sports, and we're doing family photo night and movie nights and shit like that, and Marisa Tomei knocked on my door right then and there and said, listen to me. You're going to be my man. If you leave this, you could be my man and we'll live the happy ever after. I wouldn't even talk to my wife. I would walk right to the room. I would pack my stuff. I would give all my money to my old family, and I would walk right off into the sunset with Marisa Tomei. No question asked. No questions asked. Not a doubt in my mind. And it was because of Mona Lisa VITO. Her character was so goddamn good. I'm getting torqued up just thinking about it. Good thing the Resolute desk is here. You're going to start seeing it rise up like a tent. She was so good with the whole attitude about her, the New York accent, her sarcastic remarks, the little lightning bolt, like the lightning strike hairdo with like the dark black and then the bang, the lightning bolt of white through it. The floral one piece, the jumpsuit. The one piece jumpsuit is the hottest thing I saw in the first decade of my life. And she sit on that porch, stomping her hooves and her heels. Why'd I say hooves? You moron. I'm so hot and bothered. I'm flustered. I can't even get my words out. I keep thinking about her. Stomping her heels. Her biological time clock is ticking. Let me tell you something. If I was Vinny in that situation, and she's telling me she's wearing that, and she's telling me about her biological time clock, and she's moving her legs up and down like that and shaking her bod, the trial's over. The kids are going to jail. They're murderers. I'm taking her right back to that cabin on the bearskin rug, and I'm doing sex with her all night long so that her biological time clock never runs out and it never ticks its last tock. And then at the end, where she's talking about the differences between the vehicles, the Pontiac Tempest and the other vehicle, metallic mint green. Damn it, I forgot. Pontiac Tempest. Damn it. I'll think about it later.
The 64 Buick Skylark.
But holy shit, that whole monologue where she's coming in all cocky and she does the little hand thing at the end. Shit. I had to go have a cigarette after. I was 8 years old when I saw that movie the first time, and I'm smoking Marb Reds and Lucky Strikes and Newports after, like I'm in Mad Men or something. Or the scene in the hotel where they're talking about the torque wrench and the sink leak. She's wearing that silk. How you doing? Holy shit. If you don't like Lisa VITO or Marisa Tomei in that movie, get off the show. Defriend, unsubscribe, remove all your previous likes, unfollow everything. I don't want to know you. I don't want to be a part of you. Nothing. We are not the same person. We are not on the same wavelength in life, and I don't want that toxicity in my life. She is a top one character and lady in my life. No doubt about it. She was the movie. You can say anything you want about Pesci's role. He crushed it. I just said it before. Pesci crushed it. Herman Munster crushed it. The fat witness days reading glasses. He crushed it. The stuttering public defender. Jury. Crushed it. Ralph Macchio, Karate Kid. He crushed it. Everybody, from top to bottom, annihilated in that movie, but Marisa Tomei. Oh my God. I don't even have the words. I'm getting hot. I got the vapors right now. That aggressive attitude. She's loud. She fights back. She's sarcastic. She's got that accent. That jumpsuit. Can't stop thinking about it. That's like my dream right there. A hot Italian, loud New York trash with big dark hair, legs for days, in a log cabin, secluded from the rest of the world. I gotta have her all to myself in that floral jumpsuit and heels in the woods. Oh, that's all I gotta say about that. Gotta go have a cigarette. But anyway, My Cousin Vinny, top tier movie. Now, as far as the fan vote goes, again, it was open to interpretation on why you voted the way you did, whether it was because you voted Pesci specifically on his performance or his character, or if you voted overall movie or just your personal preference. I know some people like Home Alone because they saw it first as a child and it reminds them of their childhood. So the Bone Crusher was telling me how when he first saw it, it was like it was a serious film. There was a lot going on. I don't want to say it was scary for us, but it was an intense movie. A lot of booby traps, violence. Harry and Marv come close to death multiple times. There's a lot going on. There's the potential side murderer, the southbound shovel slayer that they got to deal with. It has an impact on you as a kid. So I could definitely see how people would choose that over Vinny. I could also see how people choose Vinny over Home Alone, especially as an adult. It's more right, in up our alleys, if you will, in our wheelhouse of movies, because it's the adult humor. There's cursing, good jokes. Marisa Tomei. But anyway, the fans have voted. It was 71% for Vinny, 29% for Home Alone. That was a little more surprising than anything else, was that it was almost a blowout. For a long time, it was an absolute blowout for the side of My Cousin Vinny. And I even purposely I did a little like, what do they call that? Not social engineering, but like, I don't know. I don't know the big word, the actual professional terminology of what it's called, but I even put Home Alone in the poll as an option on the right, because a lot of times people will just, they're clicking through their stories on Instagram. You got to click to the right to bounce to the next story. So they'll see that one and they usually pop to it. I didn't want to be biased towards Vinny because, personally speaking, that's my choice of what I like slightly better overall on the personal preference side. So I didn't want to be biased. I put Home Alone there, and still it was a blowout. That was a little surprising that it was an absolute stomping, because they're both incredible movies. They're both, again, rewatchables for me. Anytime any one of those movies are on, I watch them. It doesn't matter if I watched it earlier in the morning and I'm watching it again in the afternoon. If it's on, it's on. It stays on. Both of them. But personal preference-wise, My Cousin Vinny takes the cake for me. So that's where I'm coming from. Again, that does not take away from Home Alone whatsoever. Both quality classics. Just pure Pesci classics. But I would be remiss. I would be ashamed of myself. I'd be disgracing the family name of Libretti, if I did not take into account Lisa VITO and Marisa Tomei into that movie. That's why it's up higher for me. So thank you guys for all that input. That was a fun one. Again, this is what we try to do. So if you guys have ideas for poll questions, or you have a Stugotz of the week, we want it to be fun for you guys, entertaining, so that you guys can, again, practice, hone your skills of critical analysis, but doing something that's fun. So we're not talking about calculus or science or something stupid, politics, bullshit like that. We could keep it light and silly. Everybody's weeks and days are filled, loaded with chaos and doom and gloom and political bullshit and stress and seriousness of your day. You got family issues, you got work issues, you got life issues, mental health issues. Everything is piling on. And we don't want to become Harry and Home Alone, where we resort to eating kids' fingers. So we need to have that escape a little bit. We talk about it previous episodes, finding your escape. That's what we want to do. We want to find our escape. And sometimes if we could do it here each week and still learn and still keep the brain moving and growing, that's what we want to do here. That is the point of this. That's what it's all about. So keep that stuff coming. Make sure you're sending me your feedback. If you have ideas for questions or Stugotzes or debates, whatever you want, send it over. I'll find a way to make it into an episode for you guys, because that's something that I like to do as well, because I like to see a topic that someone's interested in and then go through the mental motions, if you will, of turning it into something hopefully entertaining for you guys. And then your feedback after that will show me whether I did my job well or I failed miserably. So this is for everybody. The show is for everybody. This is a show for the people. Okay? We say day in and day out, but we mean it. LPDS is for the people, for you guys. So before we go, though, real quick, we're going to keep it quick here. Big 3. Exercise every day for mental, physical, emotional health and wellness. Number 2, don't be a shitty person. There are human beings on the other side of any text message, email, phone call, shit talk, assholery. Don't forget that. They have feelings. They react negatively when they get that poor feedback, just like you, when you get shit talked for serious, or someone's being an asshole and disrespectful and mean to you, you feel bad. So do they. Regardless of who they are, It's not worth it. Living your life in that negative world, whether it's for, gotcha moments, little jabs, just to say I got to shit talk this famous person, on Twitter or whatever. Got it. If you don't want to live in that negative space. Whatever your reason is, you don't want to do it. Okay, so don't be a shitty person. We'll keep that one short. I can go on for days. You know how I am about that. Number 3, the most important: be genuinely thankful and grateful for all the good you have in your life. And that's something that every week there's always somebody out there that provides that sign for me to remind me to be grateful for the good. There's always something that happens each week, whether it's somebody posts a quote on Instagrams or Facebooks or whatever, or I see something in a movie, or something happens in real life where it's like, damn, I'm grateful for whatever reason. Somebody loses a best friend. It's like, man, am I grateful for my friends and family in here that are still around? So always be genuinely thankful and grateful for the good in your lives, because having that mindset, that grateful, that thankful mindset, living in gratitude, has a positive effect, not just on you and your life and every other aspect, but other people's as well. So remember that. It's not just you guys. This trickles over. We want to get the good swimming upstream to everybody. And this is how we do it, I believe. The big 3. So thank you guys again. That's all I got now. I'm done flapping my gills and running my dick sucker on Joe Pesci and Marisa Tomei. I got to go have a smoke. Thank you guys again for listening and for all your support all the time. I love you all. Stay strong.